We're celebrating 50 years on the history of the volunteer army here in America, here on the continent. The history of the Continental Army was a volunteer army. Folks were able to enroll and volunteer at an experiment built by Lithuanian knights and kings that we now know as West Point. They're encouraged, do you want to be involved in admiralty law? Do you want to make poor people out of your neighbors and loved ones? Or do you want to become a knight? You have the choice. The reason that the admiralty courts earned no respect from our colonists is they practiced a kind of riparian law, a law of the sea, and tried to lower our continent under the sea and hold us to lawlessness, try to hold us to zero liberties, zero freedoms, as if we were seafood. We're not seafood. We fought back. We struck back. We struck first. We struck hard. We won. Newsflash, we won the American Revolution. We didn't just defeat the British. We didn't just defeat George III. We defeated riparian law. We defeated law of the sea being lowered over our continent. There's some entities in America that still feel foreign to us. It's because they're practicing riparian law. They include technology companies, insurance companies, and some banks. They happen to still be practicing the same kind of riparian law. And many of them are headquartered in states that the Dutch West India Colony had left us. Newsflash, we won the American Revolution. We defeated the Dutch. We built West Point, support our troops. You won't send a single invoice and issue a single expense to America's troops, to Americans. We won the American Revolution. Celebrating the Brandenburg Gate having been built. The Brandenburg Gate is a monument right in the center of Europe to remind all of us that we defeated the Dutch. The Brandenburg Gate was built by a European king who was involved in sending artillery and also knights here to the United States into an experiment we called the Continental Army. We're not an experiment anymore. We're a fully formed nation, and we want Jagiellonian law. Jagiellonian law is from ancient Lithuanian knights and kings. It means the rider, the knight, the white knight on the white horse. That's the kind of law that we want here in America, as a law predicated on chivalry and not riparian law, not a bunch of pirates. We know that the Batavians, the Rengen, the Regentan were the knights that pushed back against riparian law because we can see their fortresses on European rivers that were opodiums. It was an academy, it was a mint, it is a fortification, and it often became an administrative center. We had those in America. One of them, which was the first one, built in 1773, called West Point. We fundamentally believe in Jagiellonian law. We fundamentally believe that the Rengen are right, that the knights from range here on the American side were right. We fundamentally believe that the Regentan, who were the Dutch merchant marine that defected and joined us as we retook, what is now called New York Harbor, away from the Dutch, in a little experiment we call the United States Marine Corps. We're fundamentally pro-United States Marine Corps. The Dutch didn't love their Marines enough. They had their homes burned back in Holland during the Dutch Revolution. We're simply not going to allow it. The royal family in the Netherlands is descended from the side of royalty that allowed those homes to burn. There are those of us in America that are descended of the royalty in Holland. They're welcoming to the Marines. It's not a surprise that we're in the United States, because we're the ones that invited the U.S. Marines into America and said, this whole country can be for all of us. Some of you are familiar with the movie Moneyball, the movement of sabermetrics. Medical practices will benefit from the same supervision, general management, and roster development. We have programs for that. As editorial, we have programs for what we call supervisor on duty program, that the top officer of every single practice be formalized and trained under a magistrate judge system, a Jagiellonian law judge system, a judge that works for the physician, for the clinic, and for the patient to get a better result than what we're getting out of malpractice. We want you to join our movement. We're talking about that today. It's, you can view it at profi.me. Honor our troops. You know, the Dutch got it wrong. Learn from their example. Honor the United States Marines. Honor all of our knights. You know, including you know, those that are in the practice of medicine.